What's going on, guys? It's Jake. We're back in for another YouTube video. I hope you guys enjoyed those back-to-back videos the last couple of days. I've had a lot more time to work on the car, and unfortunately I'm coming down with a bit of a cold, but that is not slowing progress down. I have a couple things to show you guys because I've been working on the car the last couple of days. So first, I'm gonna hop under here and show you guys the Funk Motorsports heat shield that I put on the manifold. So I'll show you guys that, and then I gotta show you the sandwich plate and also the oil cooler lines that I made up. So let's get down here and take a look. But first, if you like the videos, be sure to drop a like, hit that subscribe button. That'll really show support to the channel and help us keep growing. So yeah, be sure to do that. Let's go ahead and take a look at this stuff real quick.
All right, so here we have the heat shield blanket from Funk Motorsports, and as you guys can see, I had my canvas guy cut a little circle out to go around the O2 sensor. Very happy with how it turned out. Looks very clean. And here's another angle so you guys can see how I mounted it. It just has some metal wire ties holding it on. There's a couple rivets and like brackets that they use to secure it to the pipe. And then if you look up here further, you can see the Mishimoto sandwich plate. So this has a thermostat in there, so it'll hold the oil in the engine until the oil gets to a certain temperature. And then it'll let the oil go through the oil cooler to actually cool it down. So you can see I got the 10 AN lines coming off of it, and they come off of it, go around the corner there, and then they come to the front of the car here, where you can see that is going to be where our oil cooler is mounted. So one is a bit longer than the other, and there's our oil cooler right there. So without further ado, I actually just got this heat shield back and I just put it on. So without that stuff, I couldn't go ahead and put the radiator on. Well, I could, it would just have been a lot harder to put the heat shield on without being able to reach through here because the radiator's on. So just got that on. Now I can go ahead and put the radiator on, but you guys can see on the oil cooler lines, I did put some heat shield on those as well because we don't want any of that stuff getting excessively hot. I have it secured to one of the front cross members here to hold all the lines nice and tight. I'll probably end up putting something right here once we get the oil cooler and radiator in. But the problem is I can't put the radiator in the car with the fans on. I'll show you guys why here in a minute. Let me go here and show you how I'm gonna secure the oil cooler to the radiator. So let's check it out. All right guys, so here we have the radiator and the oil cooler. Unfortunately, some of the fins got damaged when we were test fitting up the oil cooler onto the radiator, but it'll be okay. See how the fans are on here? And I did put a little border of some foam around there so that way the fans have to pull air through the radiator and can't pull it around. So how I'm gonna secure the oil cooler to the radiator is these through wire ties. I'm not sure if you guys have seen these, but they basically puncture through a set of the fins and then they have a hole down just like a normal wire tie. And you can put these on each side to protect the fins. The problem is, once I put this through here, I'm not gonna be able to cut it on the backside because of how the fans are. So I'm gonna have to take the fans off the radiator, put the radiator in the car, then put the oil cooler on the radiator, then put the fans on the radiator in the car. So that's kind of confusing, but that's gonna be how it has to be assembled. Kind of like what I touched on in the last video of how everything has to come together in the right order. Yeah, so I wanted to show you guys that, but without further ado, I'm ready to put this radiator in. I did have a nice radiator shroud that I wanted to show you guys from Alf Industries. So him and I had done some business together. This is actually the piece that I put on the red car when we were talking about doing the engine bay cleanup, but instead of buying another one, I went ahead and chopped this one down because the charge pipe that goes into the intake manifold actually was hitting this piece. So I had to cut it down, so that's why it's bare metal on the edge. I'm gonna touch up the paint though, but I'm very happy with how this turned out. If you guys saw my recent Instagram post, you'll see everything kind of mocked up together. It's Subi_Jake3. So be sure to go give me a follow over there if you're interested. But yeah, let's go ahead and take these fans off the radiator. Gonna get the radiator set in here, and then we'll secure the oil cooler to the radiator, and that'll be the final assembly for it. So super excited, so let's get into it.
Alright guys, so as you guys saw from the time lapse, I went ahead and got the radiator in. I actually touched up the radiator shroud, so that looks really good. And if you guys couldn't tell from the time lapse, I was putting on the through wire ties to hold the oil cooler to the radiator. So as you guys can see, got 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom, holding the oil cooler to the radiator. And you guys can tell that thing is not going anywhere. They all have these little foam pieces to protect the cooler on both sides and the radiator. So I'm gonna go ahead and chop those off. And then after we chop those off, we can go ahead and put the fans on and we'll see how that looks, so stay tuned. All right guys, so I got the fans installed. That actually was a bit of a pain in the butt because down there's not much access since I can't get really under the car too much. But regardless, got the fans on. I went ahead and just test fitted this pipe right here, the charge pipe, just because I figured it'd be cool to show you guys how it's looking. Our blow off valve goes right there, so you guys can kind of get an idea of what the engine bay is gonna look like. I also mocked up the coolant overflow on top of a little grease container that I use. So that's looking pretty good. It kind of matches the suit of this side with the power steering reservoir. So this is going to be where we're going to conclude the video for today. Be sure to stay tuned because I will be putting on the front mount intercooler now that the oil cooler setup is all wrapped up, as well as the radiators and all the stuff we took care of in today's video. So I have a lot more to do to the car. I'm just running out of time today. So if you guys like the video, be sure to drop a like, hit that subscribe button, and we'll be back with another one soon. So stay tuned. Peace.